The gracious presence of a Honorable Vice Chancellor, Dr. P.B. Vijayaraghavan sir, may now invite him to deliver the inaugural address.
Good morning, everyone. I bring greetings from Sri Ramchandra Institute of Higher Education and Research. As I am just starting to give this address, I find 233 people are already registered into the program. Let me at the outset congratulate the Faculty of Management Sciences for this important webinar on healthcare leadership, and also inviting many stalwarts with high distinction to speak in the program. Just as an introductory note about our institution, many of you might be already knowing it. I want to just keep all the participants informed that Sri Ramchandra Institute of Higher Education and Research, it was started as a medical college way back in 1985 with about 100 MBBS students. It has now grown into a large healthcare focused university with 12 constituent faculties, 950 committed faculty members, and nearly 7,000 students, taking up nearly 152 different programs, many of them highly innovative and value add. We are a Category 1 university as notified by the University Grants Commission in 2018, in a view of a very high CGPA of 3.62 upon 4 in the 2014 second cycle of assessment, which was the highest for any healthcare university. We are on the verge of going for our third cycle very shortly in the month of January. Our medical college stood 13th amongst the various medical colleges in the country in the recent 2020 National Institutional Ranking Framework exercise that is done by the Ministry of Human Resource Development. The Pharmacy College has got 26th rank, the Dental College 7th rank, and overall the university has secured 28th place amongst nearly 1,500 universities which participated. We have continuously participated in quality tests and accreditation exercises, and the hospital, the medical center and the Ramachandra Hospital has been accredited by the Joint International Prize Over in 2009, 2012 and 2015. And recently we have also got the National Accreditation Board of Hospitals accreditation three times again in 2012, 2015 and 2018, and the next cycle is due in 2021. There is a close integration between our Faculty of Management and the Sri Ramachandra Medical Center and Hospital for the experiential learning of our MBA and BBA students. We admit about 40 students in the BBA stream and about 60 students for the MBA stream. And since last 2 years, we have been asking the students to specialize in one of the 3 areas in the second year of MBA in areas of healthcare quality, healthcare HR, or healthcare finance. All 3 important components for any healthcare organization to succeed. Why do we have to have this summit? I just asked Dr. Selvam when he brought up this program, and it was very evident that we as healthcare leaders are going through extremely challenging times now with the COVID-19 pandemic in a big way. Almost on an alternate day, we have a COVID-19 administrative meeting going on to take care of the needs that are required both by healthcare professionals, by patients, infrastructural changes, and so on and so forth. So the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic actually heralded quite a lot of challenges for all these healthcare leaders, and we have to be always embracing change. One of the important things for any healthcare leader is always to facilitate a change for the good, and this has been one of the requirements which sometimes can be very disruptive as well. The various challenges, as was mentioned by Dr. Purnima as well, some of them are extremely acute, uh, maintenance of the protective and preventive norms that everybody needs to adapt, inadequate capacity of beds, both intensive care and otherwise, the supply shortages that may occur for want of many of these things, the need for care redesign, providing adequate healthcare professionals. These are the days when even the nursing fraternity or the doctor fraternity are also quite worried that whether they may contract this infection. So there is difficulty in providing manpower for many of these patients. Providing also optimal treatment, because it has taken us all by surprise, and we really do not know what is optimal treatment and optimal care for this. A lot of research is going on, and probably only the future will tell whether we are right or wrong. Private institutions also have the challenge of conforming to governmental directions. And many times we have also been told, and in our own institution, we had to completely evacuate one of our service blocks, which I'm sure Dr. Narottam Puri has seen it at some point in time, into a COVID ward. And this COVID ward was able to take up about 300 patients, inpatients, and also running a fever clinic on a regular basis. And the government still was not completely satisfied. And luckily now Chennai is on the wane, and we do see that the numbers have come down quite a bit. And right now, from a strength of nearly 250 COVID patients, we right now have only about 30 patients, thereby indicating that things are settling down. But we are constantly worried about reinfection, constantly worried about a second wave and things like that. So the leadership actions following the pandemic tend to define organizational culture for decades. The next challenge is providing appropriate vaccination. Again, we know that ethically we are bypassing certain standard norms. In the past, vaccinations have taken even 10 years before they have become available for the general public. But now, because of the pandemic, due to governmental pressure and so many other considerations, we do find that there are almost about 8 vaccine candidates that are available. And shortly, even India will start using some of them, at least for the healthcare professionals and people who are aged. So this is a continuing challenge that we do face, not only in the area of healthcare, but education also has had to undergo quite a lot of changes. Our own university has adopted to almost all theory teaching on online mode. And most of the students seem to be enjoying the online education more than the actual visiting the institution. However, in health professions education, you would understand that the practical experiential learning is a totally a different ball game. Although there are some virtual ward rounds and virtual OAs and things like that that are possible in the Western world, as it happens in the United States, in India, we have still not got that advancement in technology to see that many of these practical training is provided to people, to the students through the online mode. But this is something which our university is closely looking at and encouraging quite a lot of online and distance education programs in many areas. So the need of the hour is actually to equip our students, alumni, healthcare professionals, and faculty to be capable of sort of accepting these challenges and sort of responding to developing virtual care for the patients through digital health, online consultation, and so on and so forth, telehealth, teleradiology, home health care, which has picked up quite a bit. Our own institution is running a home health care service, almost on the pattern of what Apollo is doing. Appropriately change infrastructure, because even the medical council does want bed space between two patients to be 1.5 meters. But we now need to sort of even make separate rooms because of the pandemic and the infectious nature of the problem. Organizational, financial, and clinical structures and processes also will have to undergo change, and we are slowly adapting to most of them over the last 8-9 months. I am extremely happy to see that my teacher in Maulana Azad Medical College, Dr. Narottam Puri, has once again accepted to be part of a Ramachandra program. And I'm sure we are eagerly looking to hear his special address. So also the expert in terms of Dr. Mukesh Kapila and Dr. Jabamalai, who both, Dr. Kapila, I just got introduced before this meeting. He's a very distinguished person, and we are happy to have his foresight and his thoughts on the particular theme that they have kept. How do we embrace the new normal in healthcare? I must also mention that Dr. Jabamalai visited our office and also Ramachandra almost a year back, and I was so thrilled to see a person of his dynamism when he actually presented a book on the economic situation of our country and how Modinomics is actually helping our country in various ways. So we are very happy to also hear him in terms of his inputs towards this webinar. Now, the panel discussion on embracing the new normal in healthcare will have sort of panelists with the fame of Dr. Sumant C. Raman, whom we all have the distinction of seeing him on a daily basis on the various channels like Times Now or NDTV and things like that. We welcome and hope to have an excellent, fruitful panel discussion. Mr. Sanjeev, Mr. Raj Kaur, Mr. Gautam Khanna, who are all CEOs and successful in their own way in healthcare enterprises. And I'm sure it will be very interesting and informative panel discussion. And I'm sure the beneficiaries are going to be all the participants throughout the next 3 hours or so. I am only finding that because of my commitment to our next meeting of Board of Management, which actually is going to start at 10:30, we have this problem that I may not be able to sit through this entire program, but I'm sure Selvam will record it and definitely supply me with a copy of the inputs that are given by all the experts. As healthcare leaders, we all understand that we are moving more and more from a consultant-driven industry to a more participative healthcare professional-oriented field. Also, we need to move more and more to a patient-centric or a customer-centric type of an approach. I know most doctors are not happy to walk even probably a minute or even 100 meters to go and look at a patient's investigation. They want everything to be supplied on the table. So we need to move more and more towards a patient-centric approach, even if necessary to do home care and home visits. And this approach change is something that all of us have to embrace at some point in time. To the participants, my clear direction is that change is always constant, and that is the one thing that keeps happening day in and day out. But when change is contemplated, leaders should have a clear vision of the change that you are proposing, a careful planning, and also communicate this effectively to the entire organization. Each and every person in the organization should be aware of the change that is proposed, commitment towards implementation. There will be ups and downs, but as a leader, one has to always see that you have to face the ups and the downs with equanimity and then take it forward. Some skills that are absolutely important for leaders to learn and practice to be successful, I'm sure all the leaders here would accept, is that to show empathy. And this is one very important thing that is very much required. Do appropriate communication and build up your communication skills. Strategic decision making at varying points in time, you should be able to make the appropriate decisions. Sometimes you may be wrong, but many times you would succeed once you are sure about the decision that you have taken. Self-awareness, also to know about your own weaknesses as a leader. More than the strengths, you should know your weaknesses so that you are able to sort of sub-delegate areas of weakness to your own colleagues so that they can take those things forward. And lastly, the customer orientedness. That is, we have to ultimately keep in an educational institution. Our chancellor always says that there are two VIPs. One is the student, other is the patient. Now, as an educationist, how many faculty members move out of their way to go and facilitate a student? We have to keep thinking. Similarly, in a hospital, how many times we move over to the patient's interest in order to help him out? So I am extremely happy that the organizers have chosen a very important team in the area of healthcare delivery. And I'm sure the interactions that will be happening over the next 3.5 hours is going to benefit all of us in a very, very big way. And I thank the organizers for giving me this opportunity to address this gathering. Thank you.